Hi everyone, and welcome to Inking on the Fly with me, Amy Jasper. Hello! I wanted to share this card with you today because it has the new Gilded Leafing, which is this stuff here from Stampin' Up. It's pretty fun to work with, and there are lots of different ways to use it. I'm only going to be touching on one of those methods to apply it to a project. So I need to play with it more and get some more experience with it. It's pretty cool and pretty easy to use, I have to say. This card here uses the Art Gallery bundle. So we have the stamp that I am using is the I Miss You. We're going to be using embossing powder, white embossing powder for that one. And then we have the Floral Gallery Dies, and those will cut out the letters for us and the label for us. And then if I wanted to, I could use it for the floral images in the stamp set as well, but we're not using those today. So I will just set that aside. I think that's it for the basic. Oh, and I guess I should tell you the paper we have. We have terracotta tile for our card base, Poppy Parade for the label, and then we have you can see the acetate overlay. So it has a gold foil accents on the acetate. The other side has a silver foil accent. So, whoops. Gold foil on one side, silver foil on the other. And when you're using this acetate, this is from the Fine Art Floral Suite, and this is called Golden Garden Designer Specialty Acetate. Whew! This acetate coordinates exactly with your paper. So if you received a packet with these supplies in it, you will have your two pieces of paper, your floral paper and your acetate will match. They'll match up like that. So it's very cool that they coordinate like that. And we also have the wonderful, amazing crinkle ribbon. I love this stuff. I can't remember the exact name now offhand. Crinkle seam binding ribbon? I'm not sure. Anyways, it's awesome because it's easy to color and just really easy to work with because it ties so nice and tight, and it's not so big that it takes over your card. It's not bulky. It's kind of like the ideal ribbon in my mind. Okay, so let me show you how to make this card. Okay, so we have, to start with, we have the terracotta tile card base. I'm just going to go ahead and fold that and use my bone folder to make my fold nice and crisp. And I don't need that right now, but it's ready for me when I do need it. And then I have two pieces of Whisper White or Basic White cardstock. Oops, they're different sizes apparently. They should both be 4 1/4 by 3 inches wide. So I will set aside the extra piece, 4 1/4 by 3 inches, because they are just a tiny bit longer than my 3 by 4 inch pieces of patterned paper and acetate. So this is what I'm going to be using for my gilded leafing technique. On my original card here, I used tear and tape on the top and bottom edges of my Whisper White or Basic White cardstock. We're in transition right now, so I'm using Whisper White, but Stampin' Up doesn't have Whisper White available anymore. So Basic White will be what you would be looking for if you're getting some more white paper. So I used the tear and tape for my original card, but I am lazy and I find that the Tombow liquid glue works really well, and I'm going to show you that. So I'm going to put my Whisper White piece on top of a silicone craft mat or a surface that I don't mind if a little bit of adhesive gets onto it. So my craft mat is great for that. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you. Hopefully you can see a little bit better where my glue is going and how this all looks. So I'm just going to put some glue on the end of my paper. And then I'm just going to smear it with my finger just to thin it out. And what I like about this technique with the gilded leafing is it gives little, you naturally get kind of little brush strokes. So it's hard to, the camera doesn't want to grab that. There we go. So you naturally get little brush strokes. And so when the gilded leafing goes on there, it can catch that kind of brush stroke look. So you'll notice I'm keeping my gluey finger out of the way of everything. I do not want my gluey finger to end up brushing my hair off my face or anything like that. That would be potentially very, very bad. So we don't want to go there. Okay, so now I have my glue on both ends, and I made sure to go at least 1/8 of an inch and as much as 1/4 of an inch to make sure that I have enough of it covered in the gold leafing. So I'm just going to put that aside and let the Tombow liquid glue dry. It won't take long because I do have it on there nice and thin. And then I have an inky or a gluey finger, I should say. Here, let's zoom back out again here. Okay, so I have a gluey finger. I am just going to I'm just going to rub it off my fingers because I don't have anything close by. But you want to make sure that you wash your hands really well. I'm just rubbing it in my palm so that it's not going to be sticky anymore. So while that glue is drying, we can take our two 3 by 4 inch pieces of the designer series paper and the acetate. And again, we'll grab our Tombow liquid glue and we can apply adhesive to the back, the gold foil backside of our acetate, and I'm just going to do little dabs on the actual foil parts. By doing that, my glue will not be visible on the other side when I glue this down onto my paper. And we're also going to be using the ribbon over top on the lower portion of these two layers, so it will help hold things together a little bit as well. But I like to be thorough and make sure I get my glue on everything. Make sure everything's going to be stuck down and stay stuck down. Nothing more frustrating than having pieces pulling apart on your card after it's been on display for a little while. Okay, so I am lining these up before I lay this down because I want to make sure that my glue only connects where I want it to, hidden underneath those foil accents on there. And I can turn that upside down so that I can avoid getting too many fingerprints on that beautiful acetate, and then make sure that glue had good contact. There we go. So that's ready. And then I can go ahead. I'm still, like, my glue might be dry, but let's just go ahead and give it a little extra time, and I'll get my letters, my words out. So I've got just want to say, and then I have the top of the J, the dot for the J. And that is all going to attach with my liquid glue as well. I love my Tombow liquid glue, you guys. I just can't even help it. Okay, before I attach it though, I like to just kind of make sure I know where I want it to go and that it's going to fit. I already know where it's going to go because I've made 2 of these already, but it's all about the process, right? You want to make sure that we develop good habits. That's pretty much where I want them. Okay, I'm going to start with the dot because last time I forgot the dot and then I lost the dot and I don't want to lose it again, so I will put it on first with a little bit of Tombow, and less is more with the Tombow. You don't want to do too much because it will ooze out the edges, and nobody wants sticky, oozy Tombow. So you can pause the video and go ahead and put all of your letters on all of your words on your acetate. And I'm going to cut my video so you don't have to watch me do all of that. I'll just glue this one down first, and then I'm going to stop my video, pause it, and restart it when I'm done putting these on, because it does take a few minutes. And as much as you might love to just watch me do this and listen to me chatter away about nothing, I might as well cut to the good stuff instead. So I'm going to pause this and be back in a jiff. All right, so I have attached all of my letters, and my camera's having a hard time focusing again for some reason. There we go. Okay. So I have my letters attached, and I can now wrap my ribbon around. So this is, I don't know, 16 inches of the ribbon. I'm going to wrap it around the 2 layers and tie it in a bow. And then fiddle with my bow to make it the size I like for this card. I like this one, this bow I like kind of little. Another thing I like about this ribbon, well, there's just so much about this ribbon I like. It's slippery, which makes it easy to adjust, but it still ties nice and tight. It's not going to come undone. And I can make it little, but I can also use it to make a nice big loopy bow too, because it's such a nice soft ribbon. I'll just trim my tails. And then we can, we can do our label. So this is Poppy Parade, this little sweet little label. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment and heat emboss it. So I will stamp it with my Versamark ink. Stampin' Up! Does not sell the embossing buddy anymore, but I still use mine. So if you have one, use it. If you don't, best of luck to you. That's terrible. If you don't, I have heard rumors that a little bit of, oh my gosh, cornstarch can be helpful to get rid of any static or fingerprints that might be on your card, or on your cardstock, I should say. So we can stamp the I miss you or whatever fits on your label. And then again, I'm going to pause the video because I'm going to put some white embossing powder on my I miss you, and then I'm going to heat set it with my heat tool. So I'll be right back. And by the magic of television, dun, 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 I have my I miss you ready to go. So I will put 2 little dimensionals on the back of that. The mini dimensionals fit so nicely on the back of these narrow labels. And that little guy is just going to live right here. Oops. Just kissing my ribbon, snuggling up to it, not covering it up. It's just snuggling like that. So that's that layer done. We want to finish up with our gilded leafing. So I now have my Tombow liquid glue. It's so hard to see. My Tombow liquid glue is dry, but as we know, Tombow liquid glue dries sticky, so it's still very sticky, which is what we want. So this is a good thing. So then I have my gilded leafing, and before I even open the jar, I observe my surroundings and I think, is there a fan blowing? Is my heater blowing air? Is the vent in the ceiling blowing anything? Is one of my family members, are they going to burst in the door and the breeze from the door is going to interrupt my crafting space? Because if any of those things are going on or are happening, it will blow away this very beautiful lightweight gold leafing. So I'm good. There's a little bit of a breeze from the vent in the ceiling, but it's pretty minor, so I think we're okay. So then I can take out a sheet of the gold leafing. Oops, see, it's so light. Whoop, see, so light. And I'm going to keep it in its sheet because I get a nice shiny finish when I keep it in a sheet form. If I'm using any of the little crumbs or bits on my thumb, whatever, it's going to just, you might not have as, it'll still be very shiny, but you will lose some, what do you call it? Just the evenness of the shine, I guess. It'll have a bit more of a antique-y, rough kind of look. It's subtle. It's not like hugely noticeable, but I notice it, so I thought I would just mention that. So you can see the gilded leafing is sticking to where my glue is. So then I can gently rub with my finger or a stiff brush or sponge, a dry clean sponge, something like that, and I can brush off all the excess and be left with this beautiful, gorgeous, love it. But you can see some of the brush stroke kind of feel that my applying the glue with my fingers left. If I had put that on thicker, you would see even more of a brush stroke, but of course the thicker you put that glue, the longer it's going to take to dry. I am just going to pick this up with the other sticky side and I like to use every little bit, and that goes a long way, guys. So this is the other side, so you can already see this side here, it's not as, the shine is different because it's little bits together. So I'm going to need a little bit more, so I'll pick up some more out of my little jar here. And some people will put their gilded leafing into a larger container so they can literally dip their paper into it. And there's definitely something to that. And I don't know, maybe as I use this more, I might go that direction. Right now I've been using pretty small areas. I've been gilding smaller areas, so I don't feel like I need a large container yet, but I might get there. So I just want to make sure that all my sticky stuff is covered up and that all the loose flakes are released by brushing with my finger, or like I said, it's a dry brush or something soft. Soft yet firm. There we go. So there are my two ends of my white paper done with the gilded leafing. So this side, I tried really hard to do large pieces of the gilded leafing. And this side, I had little bits in some of the spots. So you can see the difference now a little bit anyways. Here is a bit rougher looking. So the shine is just not as even. It's just different, and it's not good, it's not bad, it just is different. So now I can pick up some of my excess that I haven't used, because it's all, you know, every little bit can be salvaged. Well, maybe not every little bit, but a lot of it. Put Put my lid on so it doesn't blow away with the next breeze that comes through. And I can brush away the little bits off of my table. And then we can carry on with the card. So this is kind of cute. I could see just this being used with a sentiment in the middle and on a card. That could be very cute. But we're going to now attach our layers that we've already worked on to this piece. I'm going to use dimensionals because, as you know, I like them. I like dimensionals. And I'm pretty thorough, although this paper is less likely to sag in the middle because of the acetate. It will help, but I still am pretty liberal with my dimensionals. They're kind of like a really important part of my card, the cards I make. I really like my dimensionals, so I want to make sure that they're doing what I expect them to do. Okay, this guy is going to attach, it's the same width as the Whisper white piece or the basic white piece. So I want to make sure that it is lined up with the edge of that precisely, which is kind of hard to do actually because of the dimensionals on the back. It is a bit more difficult to line it up, make sure that the edges are matching. So I'm being extra careful to do that. Whew, I did it. All right, so there's that layer, and we just have to attach that to our card base. So I'll use some liquid Tombow. And I did consider doing some embossing on the background of this card base, or on the background of this card by embossing the card base. Oh my goodness. Sometimes it's hard to talk. But I found that I just kind of liked it plain, a little more simple to show off the other effects that are being used on this card. So then I can make sure that's all nice and center, and stuck down nicely. And then we have a completed card.